And I've stayed away from this for a sec, but let's go over to it. What Link Online is going to do is Link Online gives you the ability to communicate with other people. Link Online is actually a combination of two products, Office Communicator and Live Meeting. Now, Live Meeting, and we've used that a couple times here, allows you to create, it's kind of like a WebEx thing, but with a lot more functionality, and some would say a little more convoluted to work with. Live Meeting allows you to have multiple people online together, regardless of where they're at. That can be a combination of screen sharing, video, audio. You can record it. You can play it back to the delight of your friends. You can share the desktop configs, all that kind of good stuff. And the only person who needs it running is the presenter. Everybody else can be either using a web version or install the client themselves. So it is not restricted to an organization. Anybody can be in a live meeting. Office Communicator is a little bit more tricky, especially in the version it's currently in. Office Communicator allows you to essentially do encrypted chat within your organization, and if you're on the same network, you can also do video and audio chat as well. If there's firewalls or NAT going on, then you're restricted to chat. But one of the nice things about this is if you take a look at your Outlook, people within your organization, actually, or SharePoint, or there's a bunch of tools, they'll actually show you the availability status of the people, as whether they're red, they're busy, green, they're available, blank, they're offline, and you can just click and say, hey, chat, boom. And again, it's encrypted. All right, and a lot of organizations are getting more and more concerned about security. This offer, and if you sit there and go, yeah, we've got security, we've got all sorts of certificates, all that kind of, and we're using Yahoo Chat to chat when someone needs a password. One of the things that Link does is they're actually now including federated relationships. And what federated relationships means now is that if there are two organizations that are both using Link, you can now include a relationship between the organizations that allows you to chat beyond just yours. So one of the things that we're looking forward to is when we bring some of our clients up to the Office 365, that if they need help with us, they'll be able to just see whether or not any one of us are available and immediately start a chat session with us. Okay, so that's actually kind of cool.
With the documents being posted, from a regulatory compliance standpoint, what's the security on those documents?
The security on those documents is going to be a SharePoint site, okay, which is both good and bad. Now, Microsoft has documents that will specify you're going to find stronger storage, all right, but you're going to pay for it. Well, right, but it's a question of cost. Okay. It's a question of cost. I believe that you can actually get some higher level encryption as an add-on service. I know you can do that as far as the email goes on Office 365. And actually, it's a good point, because a lot of services that are looking at this are going, oh my God, how are we going to compete? And the ones that are specially driven by either specialized storage or retrieval or security, or that are going to be very vertical markets such as medical records or those kind of things, those are the guys who are going to be able to go up against these. The folks that are just selling a generic POP3 email, those guys are going to be in big trouble with this. So it's a good question. And you notice that I both approved the question, gave you good feedback, and didn't answer it well.
Yeah, so I can get more by the answer, which was pretty much the answer of it.
Okay, cool. I believe that's the case as far, I know it's the case as far as the email goes. I believe it's the case as far as the SharePoint goes as well. Okay. So how are you going to get this stuff? Well, I kind of mentioned earlier, first of all, this is not 100% set in stone yet, okay? But right now what they're going to do is they're going to, like Microsoft, it's never going to be a simple thing. It's always going to be, oh, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. The bottom line is Plan E1, I love the way they name them, which essentially gives you the Outlook, or excuse me, the Exchange, the SharePoint, and the Link. This is BPOS, all right? That's going to stay at $10 per user. By the way, storage for BPOS on the Exchange side, 25 gig per user. So each mailbox has 25 gig of storage. That's aggregate. So if you have 10 users and 9 of them are using 1 gig per, that 10th person can go hog wild. Okay, basically 41 gig. They have that size mailbox. I don't want to know. For 16 bucks a month, they'll also have access to the Office web apps, which means that they're going to be able to use Word Live and Excel Live and all of that kind of good stuff. All right?
Are those Office web apps available for free, Bob?
Yes, yes they are, John. Glad you asked that question.
What's the difference?
None of your business. No, the difference is it's the same thing with Google. Okay, if you use the Google apps, the free stuff, what do you get? You get ads. Okay? There's going to be ads, there's going to be advertising. They're going to use some of the stuff that you do. They're going to use the data for some of the stuff that you do for some of their searches and what they sell their customers and all that kind of good stuff. Same thing pretty much with Office or with Microsoft. So if you use the free version, there's going to be ads and all that. This is not the free version. And Google has their own version of their apps that's also not the free version. Okay? So this version, the 24 bucks a month per user, includes Office itself, forms of some additional workflow, and then access, Visio, and Excel services. Those 3 services are actually add-ons to SharePoint services, SharePoint Foundation Services 2010. Remember what I said earlier about how there's some additional BI analysis tools? These are some of them. And also includes available add-ons, additional document storage, especially true from the SharePoint side. You can also add some extranet users, so users that are going to connect to the service but aren't part of your organization. Can you say customers? So on your SharePoint site, you can create document libraries, and I haven't heard the specifics on this because I think they're working out the details as far as the funding or the dollars, but you can actually have on your internal SharePoint site, even though it's cloud-based, document libraries that represent customers or folders for your customers and give credentials to those customers, and they can access those folders. I mean, you can currently do it now, you just have to buy a subscription. This is going to be a way to give them access at a lower cost. So, may not sound like much, but actually that's pretty exciting. BlackBerry Sync. I hate Blackberries, especially this week. When you go out and buy a phone, except in my daughter's case, it's a wonderful device. You don't need an iPhone. You essentially have, whenever you start looking at phones, you essentially have the devices that will connect seamlessly to an Exchange environment, which would be your Androids, your iPhones, your Windows Mobile, Windows 7 device, all those kind of things. And then you have the ones that just won't, Blackberries. Now, there are a number of ways to kind of get Blackberries to connect. And in some cases, the third party, the provider will. For example, Verizon has their BlackBerry Internet Services, or there's the desktop tools, or there's BlackBerry Enterprise Services, whatever. But there's usually other efforts involved. I will say right now, Microsoft, no other words about it, did a stupid thing last week with their beta test. They went into their BPOS and did some data changes that made the Verizon service just totally screw up for our existing BPOS customers. But we love Microsoft. They're wonderful. And to their fact, they never said they supported it, but it worked fine until they did this. Anyway, in addition to that, they also have a BlackBerry Sync service, which would be essentially the exact same thing as BlackBerry Enterprise Server is for someone with an Exchange box locally, except this is up in the cloud. It's a subscription service, but it's $9 a month currently for BPOS. Yeah, so it costs more than the Exchange mailbox in the first place. So, in addition to that, you've also got these kiosks. And what the kiosk is essentially for the light users, for lack of a better term. These are the users, let's say, for example, we're talking right now to an organization, or actually a city, where they have a bunch of firefighters. And the firefighters have required email. I mean, they need to get email, but they don't get it much. They don't need a lot. And, you know, an online presence would be fine. So in their particular case, for $4 a month, they have to use OWA, so they have to connect through the web. They can't use Outlook or anything like that. They're limited to, I think, 250 meg mailbox, and there's no aggregating or no nothing. So it's a light version, but hey, that's fine. Another area where this would be great would be a manufacturing environment, where again, you have people out on the shop floor. Yeah, you want them to be able to go get email about, personnel stuff or whatever but it's not their day-to-day business. Okay? This plan actually did not include SharePoint. Now it includes SharePoint as well. And also, for the $10 a month, now you get the web app as well. Now, if you'll notice, for the $10 a month, the plan E1 gives you the full-blown Exchange, but no web apps. This gives you the web app, but no full-blown Exchange. Mix and match all you want. Okay? Because the key thing is, you can sit here, the data is all in Exchange. The data is all in SharePoint. The data's not changing. It's how your people are connecting to it. And how they connect to it can be different depending upon their business needs. Some people have to connect because I have to be able to take a look at my calendar. Sometimes I'm going to be offline. I want to be able to connect to my offline email, make changes, and then I need to do all these things. I need Outlook. I need Outlook to synchronize. Somebody else, they don't. So we can, by understanding these things, make the appropriate changes. Okay? One of the big issues that BPOS addresses, and Office 365 does, is you don't need to buy software anymore. Okay? Now with BPOS, it was pretty much server side. You don't need to upgrade Exchange anymore. You don't need to upgrade the Windows Server. You don't have to buy the hardware for it. You don't have to do any of that sort of stuff. You're done. Okay, so you don't need Exchange running at all. Because we've got, I'll say one client in particular, got one client, 400 Exchange mailboxes, and over roughly they've got about 6 or 8 sites in the US, and now they don't have it anymore. Every site, they just, connect up to the cloud, get their email, all that kind of thing. So they no longer have to worry about backups. Oh, and by the way, anti-spam is included. They don't have to worry about anti-spam. They don't have to worry about the utilities for either cooling or whatever. They don't have to worry about, maintaining the hardware. They don't have to worry about upgrading. They don't have to worry about any of that sort of stuff. So it actually made sense because they were at the point where they were looking to upgrade to Exchange 2010. Because they had 2003. Instead, they did this.